And just let's talk a little bit more about your business. Now, you place leaders for major companies. Just give us an idea of how difficult and what you actually do.
Yeah, Chris, often when chairmen, CEOs, boards need competent, great leaders in the country, they'll contact us. We've placed a number of South Africa's top leaders, CEOs for MTN. We did the CEO and the FD for Minister Sisulu, for the new housing agency. We've done board members for Tiger, for Avusa, etc. So it's really about hearing what the strategic challenges and objectives are, then defining the right kind of person that's going to meet those objectives and fit into the culture and lead those organizations in terms of their challenges and change.
How difficult is it when someone comes along and says, excuse me, I've got this massive multinational company across the entire continent, find me the right leader? I mean, how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, as I said up front, it's really understanding the brief, the strategic challenges, then defining the kind of person that's going to meet those. Then it's a research methodology. So there's a scientific part to our business, which is, you know, where could this person come from, what sort of industry sectors, what kind of companies or organizations. And then there is the artistic part of the process. It's really like a dance of intimacy. We're attracting top people to come and talk to us about potential new marriages with new organizations.
Okay, and Stella, you've got a very mixed bag of companies in your entrepreneurial bag. You've got everything from coal to cosmetics. How difficult is it to keep a track on all of them? They're such different businesses.
It's actually very easy. I'm in partnership in all the businesses with my husband. In fact, we have a company called Masawu Investments, which is like the mother company of all these various entities that we're involved in. So he runs or focuses more on the mining side of things, and then I focus more on the property and now recently cosmetics.
And talking about the boardroom, as you were putting people in there, there's still a large complaint, particularly here in corporate South Africa, that women are not getting a fair shake in the boardroom. A lot of boardrooms are still male dominated. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think that's true, Chris. I mean, if you look at the percentages, and particularly of listed holding companies, I think there is still a resistance. The percentages are low, but that's a global trend. So I think there is a resistance. I think the other side of the coin is that South Africa has a very progressive constitution. And I think, you know, there is a lot of encouragement. We see the percentage of women in government is very high. So I think, you know, it's really women's time in South Africa, and women who have a confidence and a belief to get there, I think do. Yes, there are challenges, but I think...
And this is one point I was going to say, Stella, the women who marched on Parliament in the 1950s, they said, if you strike a woman, you strike a rock. Now, the women are tough, as we all know, especially my mother, and what I'm saying is that why is it then women aren't fighting their way into the boardrooms? Why is it women aren't changing this more?
I think generally women are not people who fight, you know, we just prove our point, and in time, you know, and put it, you know, the world will realize that, you know, we don't have to fight it. It will be a natural progression where we will realize is that they actually need women. I mean, can you imagine if there were more women presidents? There wouldn't be half the wars or dramas that are happening in politics.
What do you think of the more women presidents? What do you think?
Yeah, again, I think, you know, we need more feminine energy and leadership. Our research showed that women focus on different things. We have, as mothers and child bearers, we have a natural predisposition towards moral and social conscience and the future of our children and grandchildren. So I think we have a greater sensitivity. I think, yes, businesses have to be financially successful, but when it comes to triple bottom line, we have a greater conscience, I think, about social and environmental issues, our sustainability.
Stella, what would you say to struggling women entrepreneurs out there? I mean, a lot of women I know starting their own businesses, a lot of them are having a hard time because of the factors that we've mentioned in this program. What would you say to people as a psychologist as well?
No, I think also it's a lack of support. So, you know, I'm very fortunate that I'm in a position where I have a lot of support from my family, from my husband, from my children. And that is a key, because they're the ones who make my life easy, you know. I've got the structure at home, I have the structure, you know, at work and around me. And I mean, I'm an only girl with 3 brothers. So that makes it a whole lot easier. And I think sometimes other women maybe are not in the same fortunate position that I happen to be at, where I've got all this support, not just financially, but emotional support. Because sometimes, as you said, it's not always, easy fitting in all these roles. I mean, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a businesswoman. So when you've got all this strong support system around you, it really makes it a whole lot easier.
And what would you say to women who perhaps are finding it tough out there to make it as entrepreneurs, from your experience?
I agree with what Stella says, and I think sometimes support comes in different shapes and forms. I think something I learned reading Sam Walton's book, was that often if we need to find out things, phone up experts, ask them if we can go and have lunch with them. And I think, if we put good mentors and coaches around us, I've been incredibly supported by men and women in my life. And often that support comes in different ways. So I would say put the support around you. And I think also for mothers, I think it's tough balancing family and kids. I think communicate with one's family, explain those challenges, try and find the unique, special us time. So although this is work focused and business focused, still create those special moments to connect. I think that helps the family understand more and support us more.
I mean, was there anything that's happened to you in your entrepreneurial career? When did you start exactly on your own in business? How many years ago?
I started on my own 10 years ago.
And is there a moment when you thought, yeah, I've made a real step forward here, not just for me as a person, but for womankind?
Yes. When the business started, for instance, I had a partner who was a female partner. And I mean, within 6 months, it was very difficult at the beginning. And again, going back to the support structure I had, it was quite amicable. She was like, you know what? I need the financial support, I need this. And, that's when I realized actually how lucky I was, because for me, it was not even, all the challenges that were there at the beginning. There were challenges, but they were not, there were non-issues, because I had all this support around me, which was very important, and hence it has been not an easy road, but not as hard as most, other women, I suppose, out there would have.
Not an easy road. And I mean, what were the times when you thought maybe I've had enough on the way through as an entrepreneur?
I think, I think growing the business is a challenge, because as an entrepreneur, you're still accountable for delivering, and I think you'll lead from the front. So I think growing the business, bringing in other women, and we have trained and developed a lot of women across cultures in our country. I'm very proud of the fact that some of those people have gone on to open their own search businesses and doing well. But I think it's growing it, and I think it's balancing the balls, balancing the external focus, generating business and revenue, keeping clients happy, but also nurturing your people internally. I think sometimes that's been a challenge for me.
What do you think are the keys to success, you think, as a woman entrepreneur, Stella?
I think the biggest thing is focus. You've got a plan. And, there's a goalpost, and just focus and getting there. Yes, there'll be challenges along the way, of course. But I think the key thing is to have structure, to focus and know where you're going, and have your short-term goals, medium-term goals, long-term goals, and just keep going.
So, we're coming near to the end of the show now. So, Anne Pratt, you are a person who finds leaders for business. What does the future hold for you, Anne Pratt, as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, good question, Chris. As part of reinventing oneself, what I really want to do as part of my own next step, if you like, is to continue focusing on leaders at the top end of organizations in South Africa. But I also would love to launch a show profiling the unsung heroes of this country. I think there's a lot, everybody's got a story to tell. There's a lot we can learn from people at grassroots level. And there are a lot of great stories of unsung leaders in this country, and I'd love to hear from them and for us to learn from their stories too.
Stella, what does the future hold for Stella Buthelezi?
Well, the future is growing the Masawu brand, of course, and, reaching new heights. But for me, as a person, in fact, recently I've just started BNS Foundation, which is Bruce and Stella Foundation. My husband's name is Bruce. And it's something very close to my heart, where I want to start, helping poor communities, especially children, which is something very close to me, because I find that some didn't have the opportunities and the chances I had. So if I can, I want to give them that chance and, and some opportunities that I got growing up.
And last but not least, I mean, we both come from small communities. I'm going to ask you, and what about, were you born and bred?
I was born in Pretoria, but I moved to Durban when I was 5 days old. So
Okay. We grew up in small communities then.
Yeah.
But okay, in years to come, when people see you walking down the street, the people you grew up with and they point you out, what would you like them to say?
There's a woman that lived life fully, that embraced the challenges of this country and did it with an open heart and an open mind.
Stella Buthelezi, go to the Eastern Cape. What would you like people to say? There goes Stella Buthelezi.
Well, I like them to say that it's possible. There she is. She's part of us. She grew up with us, but she made it, and it's possible.